Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We're just going to introduce you to this new project called Losing Eldorado. A couple of years ago, I published a book, which is right here, called Losing Eldorado, all about a journey that my brother Jeremy, to my left, and I took over 20 years ago across America in a Cadillac called Rufus. And we're just going to talk a bit about the book and the project and start this series and go from there. So, yeah, bear with us. We're newbies to this, so. Hi.
Hey.
So
This is my brother, Mark. What do you do?
So I'm Mark Goddard, Mark T. Goddard. I am a photographer, writer, musician, and designer.
What's the T for?
Tiberius.
Yeah, it's not, is it?
No.
Timothy.
Yeah. I wish it was Tiberius, like James T. Kirk. Anyway, so we wrote a book. I wrote a book.
You wrote the book.
But with your help, 2-3 years ago when it was published, and we've written this book, and it is a journey into the heart and soul of American music, told through a road trip that we took together when I was 18.
And I was 22.
Yeah, and I just finished school, and within a couple of weeks of finishing my A-level exams, we flew over to Boston, Massachusetts, and we went looking for a car.
Yeah. And I'm Jeremy, and I play the piano and sing for a living, and have done ever since I was a young lad. And at the time when we went on the trip, I was already doing that. And now I live in Barbados. Mark lives in London. I run a nightclub called Jeremy's, which is a live music venue which distills the essence of everything that we were searching for on this road trip that we took. We were excited to go and see the places that we'd always heard about. And we were enthralled by the music of America, by blues, jazz, rock and roll. And it was very, very different to the music that we were surrounded by, except for the music that we were surrounded by in our home life. Our home life was very much around jazz, blues, and soul, because our dad, Professor Paul Goddard, was a jazz musician. He still is, plays piano and sings. As well as being a consultant radiologist back in those days. And we grew up around this old music that wasn't really cool with our friends.
Yeah, and so we'd grown up listening to the great music of, the American Songbook, stuff like St. Louis Blues and Bourbon Street and a whole host of different songs, but they always referenced some place in America, some fabled place, Kansas City, going to Kansas City. Sorry, but I can't take you. And to us, it was a mythical place.
Kansas City. Sorry, but I can't take you. Yeah. I'm going Kansas City, baby. Sorry, but I can't take you. There ain't no much in Kansas. Pretty little woman, I do.
So we boarded a plane July the 4th, 2002. We boarded a plane July 4th, 2002, and we went over to Boston.
July 4th is the beginning of the classic American summer, which starts with Independence Day and ends with Labor Day. And supposedly you're not meant to wear white after Labor Day. So you wear white during the summer.
And as we flew over...
I didn't know that at the time.
We were looking through the BA book saying, what to do in Boston. And we saw there was a thing called the Boston Pops. And so we flew over like, oh, wow, we can go and see the Boston Pops, which is this big event where they...
the Philharmonic Orchestra.
Yeah, Philharmonic Orchestra, and they have a live festival and fireworks. And we're like, oh, that's amazing. Let me do that. But we were going to meet some family friends first. So we thought we're going to have to we're going straight to them. They lived in Springfield, Massachusetts, which is not actually that close to Boston. It's about 120 miles from Boston. So we landed and we jumped in the hire car and we got about 60, 70 miles of the way. And we got a phone call saying that sadly, what we were going to a July the 4th celebration, as Great Britons that we are, this was amusing to us. But
I have a special name for that day these days, but I won't.
But anyway, so we were going to an American Independence Day celebration, and they phoned us up to tell us that they'd cancelled it because it was raining, which we thought was rather amusing because it rains all the time in England.
Well, if you cancelled an event because of rain, then you would never have any events. Where we came from, we're from Bristol, down the southwest, where if you've ever been down there, you'll know what a beautiful city it is and how often it rains.
So yeah, we went to Boston and we went, and our quest was, we had a hire car for a week. Our quest was to find a car for a journey across America. Jeremy had done some research and we'd figured out that it was going to be a lot easier and cheaper, actually back then, maybe not today, to buy a car. You couldn't hire a car. If you hired a car, you couldn't take it out of state. Or there was only like 3 states you could go to. So that was never going to work for us to take it all the way across America.
We were young too.
Yeah.
So at 22 and 18.
There was a situation where there was a $25 a day surcharge.
If you're under 25.
If you're under 25. So that was suddenly going to be out of our thing. So we went looking.
And we were looking for 2 months, weren't we? We were looking to do 2 months.
We had one goal. We had one distinct goal was to get to New Orleans. And after that, who knows? But we were like, we're going to start in Boston and we're going to do the Eastern Seaboard and then we're going to go down through Washington to Memphis and beyond.
Yeah, we wanted to hit all the major music towns on the way. What we didn't realize when we decided to start the journey was that buying a car in
Massachusetts is not the best option because Massachusetts is famously a bit like England. It's called New England. And
a bit like Bristol.
And a bit like Bristol. And basically, essentially, it rains a lot. So the cars you get in Massachusetts, they rust, yeah. So we arrived, and
it's not so much the rain as the cold.
Yeah, the cold climate and in the winter.
It's all the stuff they put on the roads.
Yes, indeed, all the salt. Anyway, so we arrived and we started looking for a car, and we were quite quickly warned off buying a car by the people we were staying with. They didn't think it was a good idea.
Everyone said that we should buy a really high-performing, reliable Japanese vehicle, probably a Nissan or a Toyota.
Yeah.
Which felt like the antithesis of everything we were trying to achieve.
Indeed. So, but we went looking and we spent a whole week driving around used car lots in Massachusetts, in Springfield. And we didn't find anything we liked. We saw some disgusting old Ford Tauruses and
do you remember that Chevy van?
Yeah, it smelled like a dead dog.
It did, I think, and it was covered in velour and like heavy shag carpets. It was all moldy.
Yeah, in my mind, I thought we were going to buy a GMC van. That's what we thought that would be that's what we needed.
Isn't the 18 van a GMC?
Yeah. So we thought I would get a GMC van, but we just gave up, and we were like, we can't find anything. And then we looked through on the very last day of having the hire car. We looked through an Auto Trader and we found an advert, which is
it says
for a
1982 Cadillac Eldorado at low mileage, sunroof, leather, all power, front wheel drive, good conditions, $1,695. Chicopee, Massachusetts.
And we have a picture of the advert in here, which is the photo book, which explains the whole project. And this is the picture of our...
There were quite a few good Eldorados there, weren't there? Look at them.
Yeah.
There were like 6 of them.
Yeah, and so we phoned the guy up, and he said, "Yeah, come and have a look at it." So we got in the hire car, and we drove over there, and we found this beautiful Cadillac Eldorado 82.
Chicopee kind of blue collar.
Part of Springfield, but it's a smaller suburb. And the guy had bought the car for his daughter
as a graduation present.
Yeah, and done it up for her. She was going to graduate, and
because it made noises like that when you moved it.
Yeah, exactly.
Until he worked on it.
Yeah,
yeah, he covered them up with sawdust,
and she didn't like it. She thought it was.
She wanted a Japanese car.
Yeah, so she rejected her father's car, and we thought it was the best car you've ever seen.
Yeah,
and we were like, right, well, we thought about it, and we said, yeah, we really want it, and we spoke to the guy, and he wanted
$1,695, $1,695, and so we offered him $1,500.
We offered him $1,500, but he said he wanted it in cash.
Yeah,
and we were like, okay, well that's a bit of an issue because we have to get the cash. And back then we'd flown over to America with travelers checks.
Yeah.
But we didn't have $1,500 in cash, and it was not a situation where you could go and pull out $1,500 from, and you couldn't. This is 2002. You couldn't wire the money via the internet. That didn't exist. So we were stumped as to what to do, but we managed to work out we had just enough money, and if we could take the money out within a certain period of time, we could take it out.
We did it that way, but the other thing we had was we'd come over with the travelers checks,
which was the travelers checks for the whole trip.
I can't even remember how they work.
You have a check,
and
it says $200, and you take it to an exchange, and it's essentially
you sign it, and you have to look at your documentation,
with your passport, and then
they're American Express, aren't they?
American Express. And then you have, but we basically we spent our load pretty much on buying the car, but to make things even more handy, Jeremy decided that we had to go to. He was going out of his mind in Springfield where we were staying, and he insisted we go to Boston. We went to meet some old university friends of his.
We did. No, they weren't old university friends at that time. They were. I was at.
It was at university. So some university friends.
We did this in a summer trip.
Yeah.
You had just finished 2 weeks before. You just finished
my A levels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you were like, oh, let's do this. You're talking little 18-year-old Mark.
Yeah.
Coming straight out of school.
And anyway, but we also decided that we had, the whole point of the trip was to go and essentially, look at music. And you saw that Alicia Keys was playing in Boston, and we bought tickets to Alicia Keys, and we drove.
This was during her first
international, first US tour.
It was her first headline tour.
Yeah,
when she just released the album the year before, her first album, which is songs in A minor.
Yeah,
and you talk about a lot of this stuff in the book. So it's you go into great depth in the book talking about these experiences and also what they mean now. Like we're talking about looking back on it 20 years later. That in that moment, it's all very visceral and just what it is, but. The point about the travelers checks is on a grander scale, more meta level. There was a transition going on that we experienced all the way through, which is the analog to digital transition between everything being on paper and take time to do anything to things all being lodged and being very fast. And we were seeing the transitions of the towns and these inner city cores that were in a lot of parts really derelict and had been completely forgotten and ignored for a long time.
It was quite interesting to us because when we got to America, like not just obviously we needed a car, we also needed a telephone, and we had to go and sort out a telephone.
We did buy a mobile phone.
But even the mobile technology was. Back then in America was behind what it was in the UK.
It was, that's right. Yeah, it didn't really do text messages.
No,
I think.
And it was just a very simple phone. And
at that point I was advertising all of my gigs via text message.
Right, there you go. And so
which I had to do with 125k. You have to do the character. Night. I would always do my text messages on the toilet for the gigs. I would. There's always the time I have enough time to actually get the text message done. Anyway.
So anyway, we went to see Alicia Keys, and it was a great gig. We really enjoyed it. And
it was more than just what was cool about it was that she on the first record, it was all very sounded quite plastic. It was drum machines and synthesized bass, and the keyboard sounds were like they were coming out of something like this. And it was, when she played live with her band, it was a full R&B show style review band, and it had that neo soul underpinning. So I'd seen Jill Scott a few months before that on her first proper tour of the UK, and 2 years before that I'd seen D'Angelo play on the Voodoo tour, and that was very much the kind of music that I was really, really into. So seeing Alicia Keys play with that kind of band, it was like, oh, she's really got it. She can really play, and she can sing, and she vibes, and she grooves. And we came out of it feeling that, oh, it's really exciting that her next record will sound like that.
Yeah, and you said at the time, if it sounds as good as it did live like that, then
it'd be brilliant. The live drums and everything. But, you know, it's similar to the time when I was getting vocal coaching from an incredible guy called Don Lawrence many, many years later in New York. And he said, oh, what you're trying to do with the project that Mark and I did called Legion of Many, which was a feather wearing, face paint,
electro pop band essentially.
Yeah, and leather, and these are spandex pants and all that sort of stuff. And he's like, oh, it's just like my client Stephanie. I was like, oh, Stephanie. He's like, yeah, she's got this thing called Lady Gaga. I was like, oh, okay, cool. Let me check it out. And he sent me the website, and it hadn't been released yet. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Looked at it, and I was like, it had Just Dance on it. And I was like, it's just a bit cheesy. I'm not really interested. I was like, all right. So I didn't contact her. So it shows
2008, isn't it? So
this was 2000. This is fast forward to 2008, but it just shows how incredibly wrong I was, and how much of I couldn't really work as an A&R man, because I would just go for the completely wrong call. Because I don't want Alicia Keys. I want to hear live drums. I want real organic musicianship. And with Lady Gaga, I was like, oh.
Yeah.
But Don did tell me at the time, she's doing this as a play to go into becoming something much more musical. Right. She's done over the years, and we've seen the versatility of what she's done, which has been superb. But yeah, similarly, I was like, oh, if their next album sounds live drums and the musicality would be amazing, and it didn't.
Well, it didn't.
But it still sold loads of records.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean,
it just shows that taste doesn't necessarily equate to mainstream appeal. And then with that, it's like, what do you really want? Do you want the mainstream appeal, or do you want to just make something that you really love? And we came out of that concert feeling, oh, that was great. But having gone to that concert, I don't think, but well, indeed. But also, I don't think I bought Alicia Keys' album after that. But bizarrely, but I loved the first album. Yeah. But the problem was that we went to the concert, we got back, and we were staying in a hostel that night. And we had to go and pick up the car, and we had a problem because the hire car was running out at 6 p.m. and we were in Boston, which is 120 miles, which is essentially the difference between Bristol and London. Yeah. And we had to go back to Springfield and back to Boston in one day. It sounds like nothing, but we had to pick up the car. But the problem was... We had to do more than that. We had to get $1,500 in cash. Then we had to be then legally allowed to drive the car, which meant that we had to get it inspected, which is the equivalent of MOT. Then we had to get a license plate. Once it was inspected, we get a license plate in our name. And then we also had to be insured.
Yes.
And we had to do all of that in one day.
All of that in one day.
But why did we do it to live to one day? Because I was just...
Well, because he's...
horrendously...
Well, he hasn't changed. But But anyway, I got very upset because I was like, why did we stay out like really late last night? We should have gone back to Springfield the night before and got everything ready and had all the things. So anyway, we got back to we got there, and we also didn't know, because it was an old car. We knew nothing about car mechanics. Does this car work? We bought a car to go from Boston to New Orleans, and we have no idea about car mechanics. We know this car is 20 years old. Yeah. On top of that, we had a slight inkling that maybe this wasn't the most classic Cadillac.
Yeah.
And also, don't those cars break down all the time? Yeah. But we sod it. We grew up driving my parents driving old cars. But we ended up, and we thought, okay, we've got a ruse here. We'll say to the guy we're going to buy it from that we'll pay him like half the money or something.
Yeah.
And then we'll get it inspected. Because you had to get it. It was a sequence was quite difficult. I detail this all in the book, but
the pacing is excellent.
Yeah,
with that, it's very exciting.
Yeah, and we were like, how do you get this?
What if we buy the thing and it doesn't work and we got thousands of dollars to pay? And
so
can we take it to be inspected? We'll give you a deposit which you can keep of a couple $100. And if it doesn't, we probably said much less than that.
I think we said like $300 or $400, and the guy was like, "No,
I don't think we'd have gone even that high."
I don't know. I mean, the guy,
$100. We'll go.
The guy said, "Look, you buy the car, and if it's yours, basically." So we bought the car on a whim. We knew that we could drive the ar to the inspection without insurance. There was.
Well, he sort of said we might be able to.
Yeah, if we didn't get caught, basically. And we end up.
So what we did was we managed to get the cash out.
Got the cash out somehow, and we almost got. You had a huge issue with the traveller's checks, if I remember correctly, and it took ages. Yeah, and we just got we got to the guy by about midday, 1 o'clock, maybe later, and we paid him the money, and then we had
all of it, $1,500 in those days. That was a huge amount of money to us.
Yeah, and then we had to go. We got it inspected, and we went to a place called Bob Pinion's inspection, and it was a big garage, and we were absolutely, I was super worried it wasn't going to pass its inspection, and somehow it did. And then we ended up,
he came out and said, "You're good to go."
Yeah,
his son.
Yeah,
you boys are good to go.
You boys are good to go. Yeah, and we went to the.
How much was it? It was $29, I think.
Yeah, it was nothing.
Yeah, how much does it cost to get an MOT these days?
Oh, I don't know, 100 quid or something. Maybe probably 45 quid. I don't know, but you've always got a problem with it somehow. But anyway, we then went to the licensing authority, and this is where the big problem was like,
they wouldn't give us a number plate without insurance.
Well, not just that. We also needed an address.
Right.
So we were like, well, we're staying in a Days Inn.
Well, that was for the insurance, particularly.
Yeah, we had a date. We'd stayed in a Days Inn one of the nights.
Yeah, and before we had stayed at
some family friends.
Yeah,
and
when there's family friends, we're talking about medical friends.
Yeah,
who are like doctors.
Yeah,
who worked with our parents.
Yeah, so
who are then living in America.
Yeah, they're living in America. They had said expressly.
They said that we couldn't. When we were in the house, we couldn't be left in the house without them for insurance reasons.
Yeah, I mean, I could actually.
And
I'm going to break this down slightly and just read a little email.
Oh, the email. Yeah, go on. And
So they've. I'd like to say right away that they appreciate everything these people did for us. Lovely people, and there's no harm or malice in any way, shape, or form coming from us whatsoever. But having said that, this is still very funny. Dear Jeremy and Mark, watch this space. Driving instructions to get from Logan Airport to here will follow. Do you have health insurance? You must before setting foot in the USA. A few other things we have learned from having guests before, and which we hope will prevent any further misunderstandings. Okay. We are happy to have you both stay for the weekend, but for insurance and liability reasons, we cannot leave you with the house while we are away. Right, I understand that these days, knowing him. We leave for a business trip on the morning of Monday the 8th.
Your 15th birthday party.
Yeah, well, exactly, yeah. Don't feed Nasha, the dog. When the famous thing was, she would say, he's got hair, not fur.
Hair, not fur.
He's got hair, not fur. And it's like, well, he's obviously got fur because he's a dog. But anyway, she eats enough, okay? Don't chase her. She is very shy. Do not let her out of the house under any circumstances unless we have her on a leash. Okay, whatever. And then this is the best bit.
It's the part we're going to, yeah.
No ketchup.
Nothing. Just no ketchup.
Just no ketchup.
No explanation.
No ketchup. No ketchup in the house. No ketchup in the house.
Okay. No, but it doesn't say in the house. It just says no ketchup. Full stop.
It just says that. It just says no ketchup, full stop. It says, if you want anything off the internet, let us do it for you. Well,
so along with that, I had not bothered to plan any of our trip.
No,
and I was hoping that when we got there, we could get online and sort of have a look around at where we were going to go.
Yeah. You would not believe the chaos some of our relatives have caused just by trying to get their email. Well, yeah, they hadn't met Jeremy Goddard at the age of 22, so it will be hot, 100 degrees Fahrenheit tomorrow. Sunscreen and film is cheaper here. Okay, cool. Most things are cheaper here, except Branston pickle and English cheese.
There you go. And so we're like, okay, so these people actually didn't allow us to have breakfast on our last day because even though it was fully made, we were 10 minutes late down to breakfast.
Yeah, but the best bit was when we arrived. They're lovely people. When we arrived, she bought us a disposable camera for both of us, a little doggy bag, but like a goodie bag.
Yeah.
And in the goodie bag, there was also a shirt, which was Tommy Hilfiger shirt.
Yeah, it was white, blue,
It was
and
blue,
white.
and yellow and blue striped Tommy Hilfiger. But it was preppy, kind of like short sleeved.
It looked like something.
And they were identical.
Yeah.
So like the two of us together would look really peculiar wearing the same thing.
It was just like a 1963 Beach Boys cover.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, which could be cool, but it wasn't cool. It wasn't even cool then.
No, not then. Possibly now. But I looked at it and I was like, I'm not wearing that. I'm never wearing that. And
I felt obliged to wear it.
So he decided.
So I wore it down to dinner.
He wore it down to dinner.
And I felt obliged. But anyway, I was just being polite.
Yeah.
But we were being really polite. But then we got to a point where we went out too late, came back too late, left too late, got up too late, didn't serve us. She wouldn't have breakfast with us, wouldn't even make eye contact with us, wouldn't talk to us.
When we left. Didn't say goodbye.
So we left, and this is the point where we try and look for a car. And a few days later, we find the car, and we've got to insure it. But we're like, where are we going to...
But we also had to go and stay in the Days Inn.
Yeah.
Because we had nowhere else to stay. So we're like, well, we're still looking for a car in Springfield, set some dates up. And we were like, well, where are we going to stay? So we went to the only thing we could was a motel.
Yeah.
And which, very amusingly, I've got there's a brilliant quote from Days Inn in here, which I don't know if Days Inn is a great institution. But they famously call themselves, if I've got it, the most luxurious low cost motel in America, something along those lines. But anyway, I can't find it. Oh, here we go. Sorry, it's a Super 8.
Yeah, so I thought it was Super 8.
It's Super 8, not Days Inn. Sorry, the Super 8 motel is your answer to luxury budget accommodation.
Luxury budget
at an economical price in the Springfield area. The professionally managed motel is one of the newest in the region, and in bright decor and superior staff has made it a winner of the Super 8 for excellence 4 times. There you go.
Yeah. So we were there. We're like, well, maybe we can register the insurance there for the Super 8. And
so we said to the licensing authority, can we register the car to this Super 8 address?
Yeah.
And the guys were like, no, that's like fraud, essentially, and like, we don't know who it. Well, how's that going to work?
Did we do it with the insurance first, or with the licensing first?
I think it was the licensing. I can't remember.
Yeah, I think
or the other.
Because with the insurance we did with the CIA, didn't we?
Yeah. The Cherniak Insurance Agency.
Yeah,
not the spooks.
Central Intelligence Agency.
But yeah, so the guy was like, no, you're gonna have to register it with
someone with a home address.
And he, being the responsible older brother, was like, well, what are we gonna do? And I was like, clearly we're gonna register it with our friends. And he was like, no, we can't do that. And I was like, yes, we can. We have no choice. Yeah. We have like literally an hour to sort this out.
We'd paid the money.
Yeah.
We'd already bought the car.
Yeah, and by this point it's like 4:30.
Yeah.
And we've got to get back to Logan Airport by 6.
Yeah.
And so we're just going,
and we're just hoping that if we did it, we're like, well, hopefully it's analog enough that the mail.
Yeah. So this was a thing. We're like, well, but in the time that I said to Jeremy, I said, by the time they work it out,
by the time they get the documents,
we'll be like in the south. Like we'll be so far from them that there won't be a problem.
Yeah.
It's probably take a month for them to work it out. And so we just went ahead and we did it. And
it also meant that when we put it in, the insurance rate dropped by half. It turned out,
did it?
Yes,
oh, right. Oh, wow.
Because they live just outside of Springfield.
Okay, right. And they're probably in a nice part area. And it's like,
Yeah, and the insurance rate was
How
much lower.
How was it going to be stored? Oh, yeah, in a garage. Yeah, it's going to be a garage. We only drive it once a week. Yeah.
It said to the insurance guys, you take credit card and can we pay in installments for the insurance for the year? Because the insurance for the year was going to be about the same price as the car.
Yes.
I think it was about $2,000 actually.
Yeah.
And they said, yeah, you can just pay. So we can just do the
pay
first
monthly.
month.
Yeah.
Okay, good. And the first month, then we knew that we would cancel
Yeah. So
the insurance after a couple of months and be done.
And that was it. But so anyway,
this is all sort of bureaucratic stuff, but it's incredibly important bureaucratic stuff for actually getting out on the road and being able to have a car that would enable us to travel.
And then we end up in a scenario where we're like, right, it's like 4:30 going on 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
And I'm like, we got to get back to Logan because we're going to get surcharge for the rental car.
Now
this is the other problem. We hadn't thought about this really.
We hadn't.
We suddenly were like, right, we got the car, we got a Cadillac. We're like, oh yeah, but who's driving the Cadillac?
Yeah.
And it's like, well,
this thing was a boat.
It was huge. It was like, I don't know, 12, 15 feet long. It was so long that I've rarely driven a car where you have to like look over the bonnet.
Yeah.
Like this car had the bonnet went out for about 1.5 feet.
It didn't have a bonnet, did it?
It had
a hood.
It had a hood. Yes, it had a hood. Yeah, indeed. Yeah. Yeah, very true.
We were in America.
Yeah, it had a very long hood.
Yeah.
And
so do you.
Huge. And so it was, and I had never driven anything. I'd just passed my test like 6 months before.
You've been driving
an old Mini Mayfair.
A Mini Mayfair? What makes it a Mayfair?
I don't know. It's just one of the models of the old Mini.
Yeah, it was pretty. It was blue.
Yeah.
It was white. This was before you wrote the Mini Mayfair off, wasn't it?
But yeah, that happened later on.
That happened like what?
Not about 2 months after I got back from America, but anyway.
Yeah, okay.
It was a great car.
It was a really good car for a while.
For a while.
For a few months.
But it wasn't very good on the motorway. But anyway.
It wasn't on the motorway.
So anyway, the other problem was, and it seems like it's an easy problem, but I've been driving a manual and this was an automatic.
Well, the Mini was tight. You'd only driven something this big.
I was doing something tiny with a very tight little gearbox. And then, and now I was driving something which was big and
had an automatic gearbox.
Exactly. And a lot of power. And so
you get pretty used to using automatic gearbox.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah.
And we actually had we were driving today and we like we were doing a road trip again.
Yeah. And he was driving a manual car.
So. Yeah, I was. Yeah. And for the first time in I don't know, it's been a couple of years. Well, since I've driven a manual car.
Yeah, he couldn't remember that you have to use a clutch when you change gear. He's like, why is it not working? It's like, because you need to use the clutch.
Why is it not going into reverse?
It's like,
I was like, oh, I got my foot on the brake. Okay,
like,
good.
Yeah. So anyway, cool. Exactly. So
and I love driving manual.
Yeah. So
or stick.
Yeah. So we end up. Jeremy's like, right, I'm going to teach you how to drive this car. Like, not that he
because
knew.
you weren't insured on the hire car.
I couldn't drive.
You couldn't be insured on
I couldn't be insured
because you were too young.
I was too young. You have to be over 25. Over 21 to drive the hire car and
to go to bars.
And to go to bars.
That's another story.
Yeah, there's another story. So you taught me to drive the car in a Subway car park.
Yeah, and a Subway as in Subway sandwiches, not as in like the car park of the Subway system.
No, like a Subway sandwich stop. And I slowly inched forwards and backwards. And it was just, the thing about it is when you put the foot down with the Cadillac, it was very spongy.
Yeah, it was deep.
It was like, but then when you put it right down, suddenly it was like,
it had a lot of power.
It was
the pickup was really good.
5.8 litre engine.
Wow.
From me driving a 998,
yeah,
like 1,000 cc, car, like, and then suddenly was in this boat, and it was like a Rolls Royce, it had tip fingertip steering, really.
Yeah, it was,
and it rolled like that.
It did. You had that floating touring suspension.
Yeah, and it was
not touring car, but like
so big.
Touring the world.
The car was so big that when you went to change on this side, if you're driving, when you went to change the radio, you hyperextended your arm.
Yeah,
and it was painful.
Yeah, you actually get like
and so anyway, we got in the car, and within 20, 30 miles of me being on the highway, Jeremy, I was in convoy following Jeremy, but then after a while I started overtaking him because the car was just a dream.
But also you came and flashed me down because I missed the exit. I didn't know where I was going.
Yeah, you missed the exit, and we got lost in the middle of nowhere around Logan Airport.
Yeah,
and eventually we eventually did get there.
But we had to drive the Massachusetts Turnpike at rush hour. In the middle of the work week.
Yeah, so it was
so that was your baptism of fire going in. Suddenly you got 18 wheelers on either side in a vehicle that you don't even really know if the brakes work. We don't know what the braking distance is.
And as we discovered as the trip went on, basically American truck drivers take no prisoners. They really don't. They take no prisoners. And
We had some real encounters with the truck drivers.
yeah.
Where was it that we were driving along, and I think it was between.
It was in Tennessee.
It was between Nashville and Memphis.
Yeah.
And we're driving. It's a beautiful day. It's a rolling 2-lane highway either side. And I don't know. This was, much later on than what we're talking about, but talking about the truck drivers. And this truck's in front of us. He's been a bit weird for a while. And suddenly, there's this flash of silver which comes out the side of the driver's cabin.
What's that? What was that?
And it's like, dum, 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 dum. The driver threw a monkey wrench at us.
Yeah, but it was like this long.
And it came flying down the highway at us. And we had to swerve
out of the way, and this thing went and it was I mean, then we had another guy followed us for
that went late at night, wasn't it?
Yeah, late at night, like
in the middle of America.
Yeah, it was just tailgating us for like 50 miles.
And he did that thing where he put on his full brights.
Yeah,
and he had on lights all the way up his entire the whole cabin up the top of the truck.
Yeah,
blinding us. Yeah, multiple times. Then we sped up to get away from him.
So
truck drivers.
So anyway, we ended up
on Massachusetts Turnpike first time.
Yeah, we had Massachusetts Turnpike, and then we hit Boston, and at this time Boston had something called the Big Dig, which was an absolute terrible scenario, it was they were tunneling the road. They were putting the main highway or the highway intersections of Boston underneath Boston. Yeah, and it had taken 20 years, and we were there.
We ran massively over budget.
Yeah, yeah, and we were there right in the middle of it, in its worst point, and we had to drive through that and get to the hostel we were staying in. So yeah, we got to the hostel, but we were absolutely psyched. We had a new car, and we ended up going out to a jazz club. We'd met two girls at the hostel. We took these two girls out to the hostel, and from the hostel to the jazz club.
Where were they from?
From Florida, I think. And the jazz was all right. It was all right. It was fun. But we ended up in Cambridge, which is where Boston is. Where Harvard is, sorry. Yeah. So where Harvard University is. And we were in the back of the car, and, well, I was in the back and you were in the front. And one of the girls said to us, well, what's the name of the car? And we're like, and I just said, Rufus. And Jeremy went, the mighty Rufus. And
was that based on like?
Well, I'd like to think it was.
Tell me something.
Yeah, Rufus Thomas or or Shaka Khan or something. But it probably was based on Bill and Ted. Like in my mind, but Rufus, we're not worthy. But it's just the first name that came to my head. It just felt like a Rufus. And,
he did look like a Rufus. Yeah, and you've still this here is actually from the hubcap, isn't it?
Yep, that is the
hubcap
from the Cadillac 1982 Cadillac Eldorado.
But it's actually
Rufus's hubcap.
Yeah, maybe his left
hand. And that was a bandana which we bought in Canal Street.
Yeah, and you wore on your head.
Yeah, a lot. But yeah, so we ended up with this car, and then it was like, right, well, this is where the road trip starts. So yeah,
and then it was to go and find the roots.
Yeah,
of jazz, soul,
rock and roll, blues.
Yeah, from New York to Philadelphia to Washington D.C. through the Skyline Drive in the Appalachian Mountains down to
Nashville to Memphis to
the crossroads.
Yeah, to go through the Delta down to New Orleans, and then beyond.
Yeah, so we didn't know what we would do. If we made it to New Orleans, we didn't know how far we would get.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, I think you got the car. It's called Rufus. I think we got many more stories to tell about that, but I that's for other.
Let the journey begin. And what we're coming up is that as we go from Boston, the land of
what are we going to see? What are we going to experience? How do we change? And how does the music change?
Well,
and how do we find out the history?
Yeah, so we go from the very what's the right term? Educationally rich place of Boston, and we go off to New York. New York, the big city.
Yeah. So that's what will come next.
Yeah. So
Should we finish with a bit of music? Yeah. Well, coming up next is our debut in New York City in the soul and R&B clubs, and where we play this tune.
if you enjoyed this episode, please head to losingeldorado.com.
Where you can find out more about our adventures. More episodes to come, so you've got to like and subscribe.
Or you can go onto Amazon and you can order a book.
A book?
A book. Yeah.
Did you write it?
I did write the book, yeah.
It's really good, actually.
Yeah, and it helps me a lot if people buy it.
Please do. Support a starving artist.